Stellaris is a massive game and is still being officially updated and supported 9 years after launch. And of course, where there is Paradox, there are modders and mods that take every Paradox universe further. These so-called total conversion mods completely change the literal universe of the vanilla experiences, potentially offering thousands of hours of new features, civilizations, and experiences. In this video, I'll show you the biggest and best total conversion mods for Stellaris. And if you find that interesting, make sure to leave a like, your comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Now I have to give a big disclaimer for Stellaris that I don't necessarily have to give for a lot of other total conversion mods for Paradox games. You see, Stellaris is an older game by now, of course it still checks out, over 9 years to be exact, and so quite a few mods that once upon a time were mainstays as total conversion mods for this game have sadly either been left for dead or simply outdated. By anything from a few months to several years, which in Paradox years translates to decades, I'm afraid. This means that they can either no longer be played, or that they can only be played by rolling back your version to a previous one, meaning that you cannot make use of updated mods or new features at the same time. However, some currently outdated mods are being worked on, and I'll be sure to mention which ones that apply to. Believe it or not, Stellaris fans also tend to like sci-fi settings from other universes in media, and first up is Star Trek. However, so popular is this franchise that Stellaris has not just one, but 2 different Star Trek mods. So let's begin with the largest of the 2, Star Trek New Horizons. As the creators themselves say, New Horizons is a total conversion of Stellaris, with a number of canon static maps full of empires, ships, species, and events from the Star Trek universe. Prepare to relive your favorite episodes and movies. As such, this mod actually covers the entire Star Trek timeline by beginning in 2150, which is before the launch of the first Enterprise ship, NX-01, through and beyond year 2400. What's kind of funny about the Steam page for this mod is that it still says that the mod is still in early development, despite the mod literally being in development since at least its first upload date on the 20th of May 2016, just 11 days after Stellaris release 9 years ago, which I find absolutely hilarious. The mod has 9 years of development under its belt then, and it really shows. New Horizons features a massive list of playable civilizations, for example, and does so for several starting positions, among them a sub-mod that has the game begin right before the setting of Star Trek The Next Generation. Each of these have impressively made character models that not only look like their in-universe counterparts, but who also mostly fit right into the Stellaris art style. It offers a completely remade technology tree with names you're sure to recognize at times, plus a bunch of new images and icons that add so much to the immersion. The same goes for the new traditions, tradition perks, and ascension perks, which also have been Star Trekified with new modifiers, images, and icons. Indeed, the mod also presents new events and decisions, many of which follow the lore of the universe itself, but who also allow you to make diverging decisions. And of course, a mod like this would not be complete without a host of new ships and structures that conform to the source material, and they are beautifully made, by the way. Even the UI has been remade to look more Star Trek immersive, and you can even download submods that fit with your chosen civilization. In other words, if you love Star Trek and want to dive into a vast universe with so many possibilities, New Horizons is an incredible opportunity. Mod number 2 then becomes New Civilizations, the other major Star Trek mod for Stellaris. Now, from what I have gathered, the main differences between New Horizons and New Civilizations is that while New Horizons attempts to be this all-encompassing mod, New Civilizations is also deep and complex, but is a lot more vanilla-friendly and perhaps a bit more combat-focused, with more unique ships and the like. New Civilizations also features a new UI, events and crisis chains, but they do feel a bit easier to digest perhaps, as the UI in particular is not as much changed as it is in New Horizons. And because of not having implemented as many new things, I believe New Civilizations also runs easier than Horizons, of course, partly depending on your rig. They are both great mods, of course, but I think if you want a mod that feels more like Stellaris but in a Star Trek setting, New Civilizations is perhaps the way to go. Mod number 3 is arguably my personal favorite of the total conversion mods on this list, and it is none other than Star Wars A New Dawn. Now, a little disclaimer. Star Wars A New Dawn is currently not compatible as of this recording with the latest version of the game, but thanks to Stellaris' rollback betas, you can easily roll back to version 3.14 to play this mod. In addition, and luckily, the modders are hard at work with bringing the mod up to date with the latest changes and versions, so it just might be that by the time you see this video, that A New Dawn is compatible with the latest version of Stellaris. Star Wars A New Dawn takes place right after the events of Revenge of the Sith and the birth of the Galactic Empire. This puts the mod in one of the most pivotal Star Wars periods, and remember, since this is Stellaris, you're going to get more than just the Empire and the Rebels. In fact, at the start of the mod, the Rebels aren't even a thing. You may choose to control the Galactic Empire's core as the Emperor himself, or you can start as any of the several other civilizations in the game, including the Kingdom of Alderaan and the Dantari territories, both of which can later become part of the Rebel Alliance. Or you may choose to play as the Mandalorian clans, the Hutt Cartel, the last remnants of the Trade Federation, or many others. I love that the mod has a full event chain for the Empire and formation of the Rebel Alliance too, who will answer the former's creation of the Death Star. I think the UI is beautiful and even reminds me a bit of Imperator Rome's, and I'm such a fan of the new ship models in particular, which are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I don't know if even Star Wars Empire at War comes close to creating a Star Wars strategy game as immersive and lifelike as this one, because of course, Star Wars A New Dawn is able to take advantage of all of Stellaris' foundations, like deep mechanics, resource management, and the vast galaxy. You can even have Force-sensitive leaders and choose to either join the Jedi or Sith when the time comes. I suppose this mod lacks the ground RTS battles, but I'd venture so far as to say that the space battles are the most important, and thanks to the mod's use of new ship models and a new way of organizing ships, which make fleets look so much more natural than in vanilla, these ships and battles look beautiful. Couple it all with the use of Star Wars' music, and what we have in A New Dawn is a true Star Wars Galactic Civil War experience like no other. And if you're even remotely interested in both Stellaris and Star Wars, you owe it to yourself to play this. And by the way, if you enjoyed the video so far, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Just like with Star Trek, there is in fact a second updated Star Wars mod as well, and it too is massive. Our fourth mod then is Star Wars Legacy of the Republic, a mod set in a completely different time period in this universe. Legacy of the Republic begins after the Great Hyperspace War and the Dark Age, essentially taking place during the time of the Knights of the Old Republic games. Here, you can play as the emergent Coruscanti Union, where the Republic will later have its core, the Corellian Theocracy, the Circa Corporation, Mandalorian Space, the Taris Civil Authority, or the remnants of the Sith Empire, and so many more. In essence, known names and entities you might remember from the games. This mod has its own beautiful ship models as well, which gives it a distinct flavor, new traditions and perks, technologies, resources and events, and special occurrences that makes this a completely unique experience, including music you'll remember from those older games. In other words, if you want a fantastic and immersive Star Wars experience that takes place in a galaxy just as far away, but even a longer time ago, then Star Wars Legacy of the Old Republic is for you. The fifth mod on this list is none other than Warhammer M41, a mod set in the Warhammer 40k universe. Another massive total conversion mod, Warhammer M41 attempts to build a bridge between Stellaris and Warhammer 40k, promising a total conversion mod that feels immersive and authentic to the universe, but still an experience that remains Stellaris, with no major gameplay reworks or surprises for people who already know the foundations of the regular game. It features an army of new civilizations from the Imperium of Man and its many sub-factions to the completely otherworldly for a total of 75 states, a map of 650 systems, new events, and immersive artwork. Even though there aren't a slew of completely new systems here, which helps keep the mod easy to update, there are many unique aspects to find. The mod begins in a time of massive war between the humans and many Xeno factions, creating an interesting starting position for many. And of course, it wouldn't be Warhammer 40k without all new ship models, those awesome and unique designs that in part makes this universe so interesting. In other words, if you're a fan of Warhammer 40k and appreciate a total conversion mod that stays true to the vanilla game, I highly recommend checking out Warhammer M41. Mod number 6, and it's one of the newest and most fascinating mods out of the total conversion ones, and because of this, I also ask that you remember that it still is early days. This is Mass Effect: A New Destiny, a mod that takes place in the titular universe and which looks very interesting. As stated, this is early work in progress, but you can check out the mod already now on the workshop, and what's here is fascinating. I love the depiction of the Mass Effect species, which all look really well made and with so many to choose from. I think the galaxy map is awesome with its various sectors like the Citadel space, Terminus systems, and the Geth space far away on the other side of space. I love the addition of the classic Mass Effect soundtrack, and of course, new ship models make themselves known as well. I particularly love the beautifully modeled mass relays and the Citadel space station as well, two completely unique and signature entities in the Mass Effect universe. Of course, if you choose to play as the humans, you begin as a fledgling empire, yet one that remains alone in the universe. Only after some time do you make contact with the other species and the Citadel and Council itself, and I just love the concept of this mod. Mass Effect is one of the only true space sagas we have in gaming that deals with something close to Stellaris as well, and I commend the modders behind the mod and the sub-mods that contribute to it for the effort. I trust the Mass Effect New Destiny will flourish and become even better with time, and if you love Mass Effect, this is a no-brainer, Commander. The last mods on this list are mods I do not have as much experience with, but they are promising and worthy of mention either way. As such, mod number 7 is Stargate Contingency, set in the Stargate universe. As the mod says on the workshop page, it is currently in its testing phase, but has everything from origins to traits, buildings, edicts, decisions, technologies, ships, modules, events, and more, but I believe it currently focuses specifically on the Ancient and the Tari. In other words, if you love Stargate, I would definitely check out Stargate Contingency. And finally, Total Conversion mod number 8 is the mod Whoniverse Galaxy mod, a mod that takes place in the universe of Doctor Who. The mod recently released in 1.0 and as such is pretty feature complete, with a bunch of different Doctor Who species, events, and more, with custom portraits, civics, origins, and the like. The mod is set after the last Great Time War, but features many references to classic Who as well. If you're a fan of this universe then, give the mod a try on the workshop now. And that, my friends, were the biggest and best total conversion mods for Stellaris right now, at least the ones that are in a playable state with the latest or recent updates. Let me know which one of these you have tried, if you've yet to try any, or if there are mods you're still missing. Make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel as well if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, make sure to check out the other total conversion mod videos I have on the various Paradox games, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!